So at this point in the season, Jay, part of what we have to figure out is who's for real and who's not. Who are the frauds and who is for real? Because you have teams who are good, who have good records, who are in a position to be in the playoffs or who have clinched a playoff spot, but you're just not sure if this is a team you can really trust or really depend on in the playoffs to actually go far. So I've got 5 teams here that I'm kind of on the fence about somewhat. I kind of have a lean, but I want your take on whether or not this team is a fraud or this team is for real.
Lean with it, rock with it. Okay.
All right. You ready? All right. First off, we have the New England Patriots. Fraud or for real?
You know what? They're for real. The Belichick coached. So the team is set up to do certain things a certain way to minimize mistakes. The problem is they don't have any dudes. As in, they don't have people that just makes explosive, impromptu, random just stuff. Random moments. Besides, I guess, that J.C. Jackson is probably the closest thing they have. Besides that, they just have guys that are just football players. They don't have any that just jumps out at you. I mean, Judon's out there having a pretty solid season, but he's not someone that just wows you. You see what I'm saying? Like he's efficient and he's consistent. He's just not someone that's he's not gonna wow you like a Myles Garrett going around there getting like 30 sacks in a game. That's not his deal. So I think that they're for real. I think they're for real though. I think they're Belichick coached. The problem is that they're gonna have a solid record at the end of the season, and that's about it. They're just level out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say fraud. You don't get to do this. You don't get to have a rookie quarterback, a literal rookie quarterback, a true freshman quarterback, and make your way deep in the playoffs, no matter how good your defense is or no matter how legendary your coach is. Yesterday, in that game against the Bills, that was the game where Mac Jones had to lead the team and try to win the game with his arm, and he could not do it. Completion percentage was garbage. Minimal passing yards. I don't even know if he had any passing touchdowns, maybe 1. Probably had a couple of interceptions.
Yeah, 2.
There you go. You don't get to do this. He needs more time. He needs more seasoning. This meal isn't properly ready yet. And you mentioned guys on defense. They don't really have guys on offense who you really have to scheme against. Who instill fear in the opposing coordinator.
Football players, they don't have dudes.
Damian Harris is a solid running back. I really like him, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Dalvin Cook. He doesn't make you feel afraid.
No.
So between that, but mainly because of Mac Jones, you don't get to do this. In a year or two, okay, yes, I think they will be for real, but his rookie season, they are not, and they're probably going to get bounced in the first round.
I can see that.
That's okay. Progressions.
Okay,
All right, next team, the Los Angeles Rams. Fraud or for real?
I think they're frauds. And it's all goes to their quarterback, Stat Padford. They won the game. Well, because of him. I mean, you look at his numbers. He had 100 and how many yards? 100 and let me pull it up real quick. I had it a second ago and I closed it on accident. But he's just not. It's looking like the season is wearing on him. And that's not something that you want from a quarterback who has as many weapons as he has on the offense side of the ball. Sonny Michel ran for 131 yards. Stafford had 197 yards, 5 yards a pass, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And the good thing for them is that they played the Minnesota Vikings. If they hadn't played the Vikings, and this was somebody serious, maybe a Tampa Bay,
they lose.
Question them.
They lose.
Maybe a Green Bay.
Lose.
They will lose those games. Now, I mean, we've seen this happen before where, Tampa Bay gave Green Bay 3 interceptions in a row and they still couldn't do nothing with it. But I do feel like the saving grace for the Rams is that defense. So their defense is legitimate, but they're only going to go as far as Matt Stafford can take them. And I'm going to be honest, I do not have faith in him. Like, I've had people tell me that have just rolled the Stat Padford line for years. And as soon as he had those 3 straight losses, they was like, dog, okay, I kind of see what you're talking about now. So you haven't seen it the last 8 years, but you see it now after 3 straight losses. Yeah, I see it. That Niners loss was disgusting. That Titans loss was disgusting. And I don't know how they lost to the Packers in that game. Good thing, though, they've won 4 straight against like the Jaguars, a depleted Cardinals team, a terrible Seattle Seahawks team, and this really, really bad Minnesota team that's overachieving right now. I don't have faith in them going to the playoffs. I do think that they're frauds. They will. They will, just like the Patriots will make it. I think what makes the Patriots real is that they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to lose, which is not something you're supposed to do with a rookie quarterback like this and a team full of just randos. The Rams are going to go and they're going to get eliminated, and it's going to piss me off because I picked them to go to the freaking NFC Championship game.
I think the Rams are for real.
Oh, my God.
And what's so funny about
Here
this?
you go.
What's so funny about this is everything that you just said is true. But yesterday is a microcosm of this team. They're going to win despite how bad Matthew Stafford is. All right, tell me what you think. What do you think of these two nicknames? Bat Stafford or Matt Badford? Either one of those work. Matt
Badford does stick.
Okay, mark that down.
Mark down Matt Badford.
Matt Badford.
Because he's been having a lot of Matt Badford games lately.
Yes, but just like yesterday, no one knows how they won. I mean, outside of Cooper Kupp and his 10 catches, I don't know how they won this game. They should not have won this game. OBJ got hurt in this game, came right back in, got a touchdown, then did the gritty. I don't know how they're winning these games. Aaron Donald, I know, like, you have to scheme against him and Jalen Ramsey, who I think Jalen Ramsey actually did do a good job against Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
So
Jefferson had 8 catches for 116 yards.
Never mind. So Aaron Donald.
I was going to say, I mean,
so somehow they're going to just stupid, blind, dumb luck. They're going to backdoor their way into an NFC championship somehow. They'll end up winning a game they're not supposed to. There's going to be a flash of best season in Detroit, Matt Stafford, that's going to show up in at least like a half of one of these playoff games is going to be the deciding factor. So somehow, some way, even though they shouldn't be, even though they don't deserve it, even though everything you said was true, this team is for real and they're going to be there and no one's going to know how they did it.
It's because of that defense. That defense is obscene. So I get it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The defense is not obscene, but just somehow it's like they do just enough.
No, so based upon our guys over at the Football Outsiders,
you have two. What do they say?
They're the 5th ranked defense, the 6th ranked defense in the league. Yes.
Okay.
They most of the season they were fighting with Buffalo and New England for the top 4 spots for a while. And Dallas.
So it's things they do things that they aren't going to pop off of the screen.
Correct.
When you dig deeper into the advanced analytics, it is the defense carrying the season.
It's the defense.
So to that point,
well, the offense is also ranked number 6 because they're fucking stacked on offense.
So how about this then? All right. So if your defense really is that good and is really not breaking, the formula I've been talking about all season: tough defense, run the ball, because Sony Michel has actually emerged as the best back on this team. And did you know this? They're going to get Cam Akers back.
Yep. And they said they're going to get back in the playoffs. So they don't plan on playing him during the season. So
and then third, treat him like Jimmy Garoppolo, pass when you have to.
See, that's the bad part, is that you can't do that with
you have a Cooper Kupp.
You got a Cooper Kupp. You got Stat Padford. Like, literally, he has a rocket arm, and he was a capable quarterback with the Detroit Lions. He was able to keep them from being, like, awful when he was healthy. You can't go out there and not throw the ball with him. You can't. Right. You cannot let him.
So
Sean McVay has to become quarterback again, which is the problem that I'm having right now. Right. And that was the thing. That was the biggest benefit of getting Matt Stafford to this team, is that McVay didn't have to be the quarterback anymore.
He could focus on other things, but nope.
He could be an assistant quarterback, but he didn't have to be the actual quarterback. And now he's got to become that.
Okay, so he's got a quarterback with a much better arm and more experience, but with still some of the same
tendencies and awareness,
scratching tendencies that Jared Goff had.
Yeah, it's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. All right, so to you, the passing game is never going to be a third option. It's going to be the second option. Run game is 3. Probably.
Unfortunately. That wasn't the thing about it, because you got Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
You got OBJ now.
Yeah.
Even since you lost Woods, you've got Cooper freaking Kupp. Mm-hmm. Dude might get 2,000 yards. Mm-hmm. He's eating. He's the only reason why my fantasy team has survived. He's it. He's all I've had.
He has carried me to 2 championship games in my dynasty league. So yeah, he's fantastic. All right, next one. The Arizona Cardinals. Frauds or for real?
Oh, man. I hate to say it. They're frauds. What we've learned is that if DeAndre Hopkins isn't playing, they don't exist. And I guess it's something with Kyler. I don't get it. Is that Hopkins opens the field so much for Kyler, it seems. And this year, Kyler has not really ran the ball at all. Like, statistically, so Kyler, what was that? His first 2 seasons, he let me pull him up real quick, because I think this is kind of critical with the way that he's played in his career. Let me put up his stats real quick and let's talk about this, because I know that his first 2 seasons he had over 500 yards rushing at the quarterback position, right? Here it is. His first year he ran for 544. His second year he ran for 819. He has 344 rushing yards this season. 12 games, 344 rushing yards. He has not ran the ball much at all. Like, he's avoided 57-yard run in that game. Awesome. The only time we've seen Kyler really run the ball this season is for touchdowns. And that's it. So very little scrambling, more so giving the receivers time to get open. But that's for Nook. That's it. You're not getting that from everybody else for some reason. And because of that, he has struggled without him. He needs Hopkins. And unless they can get him 100% back, they ain't going nowhere. And the defense is falling apart with J.J. Watt. You mentioned this last week when we talked about it. J.J. Watt was the anchor to that defense. Even though he's still a voice there, the rest of the defense seemed like they're just too young to really produce. So I think they're frauds. I thought that, they had the best record, and now they've fallen. They have fallen from grace, Jimmy. They are no longer the best team in the NFC. Hell, right now, are they making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they clinched just in virtue of somebody else losing.
Right. They are, they did clinch. They are fifth right now at 10-5, which luckily the 49ers and the Eagles are behind them.
Yeah.
That saves them.
Yeah.
Unless they lose these last two games.
I'm going to say the Cards are frauds.
They've lost
frauds.
3 straight.
They've lost 3 straight. They earned every single one of those losses. And you're right. This offense is broken. Kyler Murray doesn't truly have confidence in his receivers or confidence in his receiving core without Nuke, which is something we pointed out last week. And everybody who got to watch this game could see it live for themselves. So you have that. They just get pushed around way too much. They're not tough enough. And you got to be tough in the NFC. There are some tough defenses and tough offenses in the NFC, and they're just not tough enough to compete. And in the post-game press conference, Kyler mentioned them making mental mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think, therefore, part of that falls on coaching as well. This is Cliff Kingsbury. He's got his piece of the pie as well. So when you combine all of that, I don't see this getting better. And they're headed for a 4th straight loss because they have Dallas next, which I think that game might be in Dallas.
It is in Dallas.
It's going to be fun to watch. Don't get me wrong.
Day after New Year's.
They're going to put up some points, but they're going to lose that game as well and head into the playoffs with no confidence at all. 1-2-3 Cabo. They're going to want to lose in the first round just to get away from this season.
Here you go. So here's some headlines. CBS Sports. Is Cardinals Cliff Kingsbury safe beyond 2021?
There you go.
Twitter drags Cardinals Cliff Kingsbury is officially a problem. What was Cliff Kingsbury thinking on the Cardinals' final drive against the Colts? Basically, everybody's sounding off on. Let me pull back real quick. You remember when the rumor was out there that Oklahoma was looking at Cliff Kingsbury to be the new head coach?
Yeah, I do.
And everybody was like, that's ridiculous. There's no chance he leaves the NFL. He has the best record in Arizona. One of the things I said is that there's twofold. One, Arizona is infamous for firing coaches they don't need to be firing. Number 2, Cliff, if they didn't go undefeated for the rest of the year, he was going to be on the hot seat. I think he's on the hot seat. He's only got 1 year left. There's no reason not to get ready to move on and bring in a better coach. And for the new era, because right now they've proven that they can win, and it seems like coaching is the thing that's bringing them down.
Is it the Bidwells who own the Cardinals?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, and the word was, after what happened last season, which it seems like this season is headed for that track too, that they were pissed about how last season ended. And when you think about it, you can piss a billionaire off once and get away with it. You cannot piss a billionaire off twice.
Yep.
And get away with it. And if this season ends the way it's looking like it's going to end, then you might be 100% right. He is either going to be gone or they're going to give him one more season with a very concrete demand, which is get to the NFC Championship or get back to college. So we'll see. All right, 2 more. LA Chargers. Fraud or for real?
I think they're frauds. The consistency with them isn't there. As much as I love what Justin Herbert's doing, they lost to the fucking Texans 41-29, bro. Now, I get that Austin Eckler didn't play, and that probably was key because that's the reason why I lost in my fantasy team. But Justin Jackson is actually a really good replacement for him. And he's proven it every year. Every year he's come in, when I see Eckler's going to be down, I go pick him up in fantasy and play him, and he always puts up numbers. Every single week he does that. They look just bad. They just look bad against the Texans of all teams. Justin Herbert should have carved that defense up. And he's just showing that he's young. They've lost 2 straight. They lost to the Chiefs. which a revenge game for the Chiefs as they're excelling now. They're going up and no longer declining. And the Texans themselves, you lost to a team that bad.
Right. Who, I mean, their best wide receiver was out. Their starting quarterback out. Their starting running back out. Their starting tight end out. And they put up 41. They are frauds. There is no even losing to the Lions, you could still kind of recover from that, but there is no recovery from not only losing to the Texans, but giving up 41 points where they just ran straight through your defense. And they got Derwin James Jr. back. They didn't have Joey Bosa, but so what? They ran straight through them. There is no psychological recovery from that. So even if the Chargers get into the playoffs, and I think they're in a playoff spot, they're either 8-5 or 9-6.
They're 8-7.
8-7. Okay. So they still have a way into the playoffs. They know they're not for real. They know they're not ready. The same thing I said about Mac Jones as far as you don't get to do this with the rookie. Few teams have done this with a second-year quarterback. None of them have had a second-year quarterback probably who went far, outside of maybe Brady, as good as what Justin Herbert is going to be, how talented he is. But I'm sorry, they're frauds. They're not going to do much of anything in the playoffs this year.
The good thing about Justin Herbert is that he is nowhere near peaked, and I can see him going. He's going to excel for years to come. He has everything you need to do that. It's just right now there's too inconsistent, and that all that inconsistency is going to kill them later. I thought they were the best team in the AFC at one point, and then you start dropping games like flies, just falling. What is this? So.
Yep. All right, last team real quick, Buffalo Bills. Frauds or for real?
I think the Bills are for real. Colin was talking about it this morning. That does he believe that Josh Allen is the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL? I don't think that that's true, but J.A. has done nothing but get better and better every single year since his breakout season, which is basically this year and last year. The defense is one of the best in the NFL. I mean, Football Outsiders has them ranked as the number 2 defense in the NFL, right behind the Patriots. Offensively, they're okay. They don't have a running game, and they're still able to figure it out with J.A., which I love that they have design runs for him.
No, they do now. Devin Singletary these last 3 games has actually been playing like a good running back that they thought that they drafted several years ago. I mean, he ain't been great, but he's been good. He's been the best football of his career. He's played the last 3 games.
He's starting to come back around, and I guess McDermott's statement of, it'd be nice if we ran the ball more. Oh, yeah, I liked it in the second half when we ran the ball. Throwing all those hints out there, which made his offensive coordinator actually start running the ball, which is a good thing. But I think that for real, I think that they can get there, especially with J.A. at quarterback. Just as long as he doesn't give us the full experience, they'll be fine.
I think they're for real, too. Psychologically, that Pats win yesterday was huge. It completely erases what happened in that Monday night windstorm against the Patriots several weeks ago. That means absolutely nothing. They went into Foxborough, even ground, decent weather this time, and dominated this entire game. It really put the Pats in their place. Oh, they own the division now. They were in the AFC Championship game last year. And if you would have asked this question 3 weeks ago of if the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, who do they fear the most? 2 to 3 weeks ago, you would have said the LA Chargers, like we were just talking about.
They
today,
beat up on them.
Yeah, today it's the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
They're terrifying. They're terrifying. The receivers, when healthy, they're ridiculous. I mean, Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Manny's been showing up when they need him to. Cole Beasley.
They have guys you never heard of.
Dawson Knox, Gabriel Davis.
Isaiah McKenzie.
McKenzie.
Like, who are these people catching these touchdowns?
Guys that just J.A. likes throwing the ball to.
So they are deep.
They're deep
at receiver.
And that's a good thing for them. I mean, hell, Matt Breida, whenever he gets into the game, he gets a touchdown here and there. Dog, stop stealing my touchdowns.
Yeah. So actually what they're doing, they're peaking at just the right time. Like I said, that running game, they've not had a running game in years. But somehow Devin Singletary's playing the best football of his career these last 3 games towards the end of the season. Perfect. So this team is dangerous.
They're healthy.
Yeah, outside of Tre'Davious White, who they really haven't missed him very much.
Now that defense stayed.
Because those rotation of defensive linemen continually apply pressure.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Singletary's been decent these last 3 games. Well, 2 games. I mean, he 52, 86, and 39, but he's got 2 touchdowns the last 2 games. I mean, for guys, if it goes,
Yeah, I say it's the best football of his career, not
Yeah.
Because before that, he's been dog meat for real.
Touche.
Yeah.